Come on, Naeem. Hold on. Mr. Producer, we got all them hoes. You see that, Naeem? I got all the Guess what kind of hoes I got, Naeem? Where are they from? You know? Where have I conquered? Come on, Naeem. Oh! Whoops. Naeem, where have I conquered them? Huh? Where did they come from? Do you remember? Put it in the chat. Let them know who all them hoes are. Huh? Mr. Producer. Let me do a little Mr. Producer this way. Who's this, Naeem? You messaging me? Okay, no. Hold on. Let me do a little quick... What would you call that? Not Mr. Producer. If I move the mic, it would be stage hand. Okay, hold on. Beautiful. All right, now we're good, Naeem. Actually, let me do it like this. Boom. Naeem, guess what? We're always improving. We're always getting better. We're always looking for edges, right? So what edge am I going for right now? I bought hydrogen water tablets. Gary Brecka was talking about them on the Joe Rogan experience. And how, there's obviously a bunch of different health benefits because of hydrogen. So you could bathe in the hydrogen. He was talking about hydrogen bath bombs. Or you could put hydrogen tablets in your water. Sparkling for me, of course, because I'm rich. If you drink still water, you're certainly in a lower income bracket. Don't get at me. That's just the research. That's just the data that has been presented. So, you know what? Fuck it. No music today. So, what you do is you put this hydrogen tablets in the water, let it dissolve, and then you're going to get a high dose of hydrogen atoms. Basically, you drink it, goes into everywhere in your body. It's supposed to give you a lot of good health benefits. We'll see. I ordered them. They're already going. Business is speed. As soon as I see something I want to try or I like, I order it because that's just what I do. They were free. I think they were around $30, $35. So free. Hopefully inflation doesn't affect my hydrogen tablets, right? Like they affected eggs. Maybe I won't be able to afford them. No, I'm kidding. They're free. $35 is free. So got those on the way. We'll talk about that. We'll see how that's working. We'll talk about that in the fitness section of the private Discord. But gentlemen, let's talk about two topics I have for you today, okay? And these are going to be imperative for you to digest, implement, and, positively impact your life because especially with what's going on with financial markets, tariffs, whatever's going on with your career, your business, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, these things are definitely rearing their heads right at this moment, okay? So the first thing, let's talk about the title of the stream. God makes your work worth double on Saturday. Okay? Why is that? Well, number one, we're the real hustlers. We're the real professionals, the ultimate professionals who don't take Saturday off as I went out on Friday. I'm hammered. I'm hungover on Saturday. 2 o'clock, we'll start drinking again. Blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the type of crowd that we're surrounding ourselves with. We're the savages, the dogs who are going for billions and billions of dollars of net worth. So therefore, Saturdays are a day that we got to take to gain an edge on the competition. Now, why does God make your work double on Saturday? Well, as I told you last stream, I made a new routine to start reading the Bible every night before bed. Okay? It's important to, whatever faith, whatever religion you are, understand the scripture, the text of your faith, and draw the lessons and draw the meaning from that text. These texts have survived thousands and thousands of years. So clearly, there's something valuable. There's something to be said about the content of that book. And so I'm reading the Old Testament, and one of the stories, they're talking about the Israelites whenever they had left Egypt, right? So Moses brings them out of Egypt to bring them out of oppression, right? The slavery that they had been put under in the Egyptian empire. And so when they go out into the desert, there was nothing to eat, okay? And so the Israelites were upset with Moses. They were telling him, why would you bring us out of Egypt just for us to starve in the desert, right? We could have just stayed in Egypt. Yes, we would have been slaves, but we would have had food to eat. We would have had shelter, clothes. We would have been living a peaceful life. Though we were working and breaking our backs for the Egyptians, we still would have had food. And so Moses says, okay, I understand. Let me pray to our God and find out what he can do for us. So they were starving. They didn't have food out in the desert. So what God did is every day from then on forward, he would leave, I don't remember the exact word, but it was a type of bread, some type of food that they could pick up off the ground in the morning like a dew, and they would collect it all day and be able to eat that for the day. So they would have food. So he would leave it on the ground in the morning when they would wake up. They would have this bread on the ground that they could go collect and then eat that to survive. Okay? So here's what was interesting about this. So every single day, they could go out and pick up the bread, the Israelites. But they could never pick enough. Well, if they overpicked the bread and had enough that they could save for the next day, it would go bad by the next day. God would not allow them to take that day's harvest and save it for the next day. Every day, whatever you had, whatever you could eat, that's what you would get. And then the next day, anything that you tried to save went bad. And therefore, you would have to go the next day and go work again and collect the bread. That's the way that you would do it. It was only on Saturday, the sixth day, that God would allow the Israelites to collect enough bread worth for 2 days. Why? Because on Sunday, on the Sabbath, he wanted them to rest. You're not allowed to work on Sunday. That day is holy for me. You keep that day holy for me. You do not work on Sunday. So only Saturday, I will allow you to collect and work all day on Saturday and then save the bread overnight so that you can eat on Sunday without having to go to work. It was the only day he would allow it not to go bad. Okay, so this is where you get the Sabbath from. This is why you say on Sundays you don't work. So what's the lesson in that? So I was thinking about it. The way that the story is told, God said that you had to work every day, 6 days a week, except for Sunday. He expected to work for 6 days, but he also expected Sunday off. So the lesson that I drew from that was, okay, well, number one, not only should I be working on Saturday, right? Not just Monday through Friday. And I'm not saying you have to work at your normal job if it's a salary job on Saturday too, just because you're supposed to. No, I'm not saying work for somebody else. But for 6 days a week, you should be working on something. Whether it is a business where you can make more money on Saturday or your own, let's say if you're working hourly, get extra hours on Saturday, get some overtime, get some double pay, right? Whatever it is that you can do on Saturday to work and improve yourself and improve your business and make money, you should be doing that. And not only should you be working 6 days a week, but the work you do on Saturday is worth double. It's always worth double. And I thought to myself, wow, isn't that interesting? Because you think about the society that we live in today, that's actually true in a competitive sense, okay? Yeah, in the scripture, in the Bible, the story was meant to keep Sunday sacred. That's why you get double on Saturday. But in today's real world, how can you apply that same concept? Well, everybody takes off on Saturdays. So inherently, your work is worth double on Saturday. Because Monday through Friday, the only way that you can outcompete somebody is by outworking them, because they're working too. Everybody works Monday through Friday. So if you work Monday through Friday, you're not doing anything fucking special. The only way for you to be able to get ahead of those people is to do more hours in that same time frame, or somehow be more effective, more efficient in that same time frame. But everybody's working Monday through Friday. So the edge that you gain is small. But on Saturday, your work is always worth double, because now not only are you getting ahead, or not only are you working, but you're getting ahead because others are not working. So while they stop to rest and relax and chill and do whatever the fuck they want to do, you're continuing to increase the gap. Now all the work you do is worth double, right? And now I'll tie this into something else that one of my mentors had told me, which was a great point as well. This is a separate point that he had drawn from his faith. He said that God gives you extra credit for doing things when you genuinely, absolutely don't want to do them. It is in the moment when you truly do not feel like preparing for a meeting, feel like preparing for your business, feel like preparing for the gym or going to the gym or doing whatever it is, when you genuinely don't want to and you could get away with not doing something to the fullest extent, to the highest level. If you still choose to do it at that point, you get extra credit from God. He gives you extra credit because he knows you don't want to do it. He knows you don't feel like it, but still you prepared, but still you showed up, but still you went the extra mile. That's what separates you from the competition. That's what makes you elite compared to the average. Okay? So I think about, the whole fact that we do this stream on Saturday is on purpose because I've had this mindset for years, but it's nice to see that get tied back into when I'm reading the Bible because it makes sense, right? I've always had the mindset that Saturday is the edge day. Saturday is the day that you get double credit. It makes sense because that's when everybody doesn't feel like working. That's where you get the extra credit. You get extra credit, you get kudos, you get brownie points whenever you do what most people are not willing to do. There's nothing impressive about working Monday through Friday. Everybody does that. Everybody's in that rat race. Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. Everybody does that. So show me what you do on Saturday, and then I can assess where your life is going. Then I can assess how badly do you actually want the things that you say that you want. How badly do you want them? So on Saturday, your work is worth double. Well, if your work is worth double on Saturday, wouldn't it make more sense to work more hours on Saturday? If you work 8 hours on Friday, you get 8 hours worth of work. But if you work 8 hours on Saturday, you get 16 hours worth of work. So wouldn't it make sense if you can spend the same amount of time doing something but get double the credit, double the result? Well, shouldn't you do something on Saturday? Wouldn't that make sense? I mean, it's worth double, right? Of course it makes sense. But these are the sacrifices that you have to make. You have to make the decision, it's worth it for me to get up a little bit early on Saturday. 8 a.m., 9 a.m., start working, work till about 2 o'clock, 6 hours, right? 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, you finish your work for the day. Guess what? You can still go enjoy yourself. You can still go to the cigar lounge. You can still go have dinner with that girl. You can still go see the gentleman. Go drive around the supercars. You can still do all the things that you want to do on a Saturday. But before you do that, get your double. Get your extra credit. Get the double. Because now, if you start doing that, making that a habit on Saturday, the way that I have for the past 3-4 years, now your Saturday evenings, when you do finish that day of work, they look a lot better than they did. Now I'm driving a much nicer car. Now I have much nicer watches. Now I'm going to much nicer restaurants. Now I'm going to much nicer vacations. So my Saturdays look even better now. But people are so worried about missing the party or the booze or the club or the bar. They're so worried about missing the things that they have right now, but that they're missing the bigger picture. I'm not worried about missing the things I have right now. I'm worried about missing out on the opportunity to do the much bigger things down the road, right? We're not the same. If you're worried about missing a Saturday night out with the boys at the local pub to get fucking blasted drunk to show up to your house at 3 a.m. and puke everywhere, if that's what you're scared about missing, you're out of your fucking mind. You're not thinking big enough. What I'm afraid about missing is if I am doing that stuff, if I am doing that dumb shit, I'm going to miss the opportunity to go build a villa in Italy, put $500,000 into it, banger, and then be able to vacation there every single summer for the rest of my life. That's what I'm worried about missing. You know what I'm worried about missing? I'm worried about being able to fly private to Dubai whenever I feel like it, and then, spend $100,000 at the local hotel, go gamble, whatever. That's what I'm worried about missing. I'm worried about missing the fantastic experiences of life. I'm not worried about what the fuck is going on at the local bar. Those are losers that you see there. People who have no ambition, people who have no vision, people who don't believe that they deserve more in their life. So I'm willing to make the little sacrifice to be disciplined, to get up early on a Saturday, go to work, get my extra credit, get my double, even as I'm out competing most people, even as I'm out earning the vast, I'm in the top less than 1% of people on the entire fucking planet. Think about that. Okay? I'm still outworking these people. I have a few dollars in my bank account. I'm fine. I can pay my bills. I don't need to work. But still on Saturday, I show up and I get my double. And I do it consistently. So understand that. You get double on Saturday. All the work you do on Saturday is worth double. So go to work on Saturday. Do not waste that opportunity. If you're not getting ahead and you're wondering why you're not making money or why you're not increasing your lid, it's because you're not taking advantage of these moments. You're supposed to be working on Saturday. You work 6 days a week. 6. That's what I read. It's in there. I read the book. You work 6 days a week. Okay. You don't work Sunday. Got it. You get double on Saturday to make up for Sunday. Beautiful. So I show up on Saturday. I work on Saturday. Second thing. Okay, so I'm going to read you a fantastic poem. The fuck's following me? And whoever that subscriber was, Lucas, whatever the fuck on Kick, whatever. Good to have you. All right. So I'm going to read you a poem that I had read to our brokerage years ago. And then I read it to the agency here recently. Okay. So this is a poem by Edgar. I forget his last name. We'll find it. It's a fantastic personification of quitting and why you shouldn't quit by Edgar Albert Guest. Okay, I'm going to read this for you. Okay. So the poem is called Don't Quit by Edgar Albert Guest. All right. Listen carefully to these words because many of you are going through this at the very moment or have gone through this in the past, yet you failed when you got the opportunity to perform. Okay. Listen to the words of this poem. All right. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a fellow turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. You see, success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And when you never can tell how close you are, it may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst when you must not quit. So everything that he says there is absolutely correct, okay? It's that very moment, that tipping point, when when a piece of carbon could either go into diamond or go into coal, right? It's under that extreme pressure when those diamonds are made, or if something breaks or cracks and goes to coal. So you have to make the decision, are you going to be the diamond or are you going to be the coal, okay? That extreme pressure, that point in your life when you feel like you're about to quit is exactly when you need to push further and continue to stay the course, because that's whenever that breakthrough is about to come. I've never met a single person who succeeded at the very highest levels and hasn't had a moment just like that. The biggest misconception with successful people is they must not feel the feelings that I feel. They must not have the hardship that I have. They must not deal with the same problems I deal on a daily basis. Incorrect. Successful people are exactly like you and have dealt with all the same things you have dealt with. The only difference is how they chose to respond to those events. That is the only difference. So get this notion out of your mind that, oh, the only reason this person succeeds so much more than I do is because they must inherently be different. There's something in their DNA that just makes them who they are, and therefore I could never achieve that same level of success. Incorrect. They were just the people who chose not to quit. Okay, I say this all the time, and I say it on social media. You can't lose if you don't quit. If you've made the decision that you're going to do something and you're going to succeed in that business, that industry, that sales opportunity, whatever it may be, you can't quit. As long as you don't quit, you can't lose. The only way that you lose is if you throw it in the towel. It's the only way that you lose. As soon as you land yourself in the right opportunity, you find yourself in the right place where you see people making millions of dollars, you see people getting rich, you see people driving supercars, you see people being successful, you know for a fact it's possible. So don't lie to yourself telling yourself, well, I'm going to quit because it's too hard. I can't do what they're doing. No. If they're getting rich doing what you're doing, figure out how the fuck they're getting rich. And then start implementing those things to be having the same success that they have. So don't quit. It's supposed to feel like that. There's never been a single person on the face of this planet who's made their own wealth, who's made their own generational, money, that didn't go through a moment of massive, what's it called? What's the fucking word? What's the fucking word? Adversity. I couldn't fucking think of it. Who hasn't gone through massive adversity to be able to break through and get to where they were massively successful. Everybody has that moment where they're about to quit, and then they make that decision on, do I or do I not? And it's those who keep on pushing through that valley of despair that come out onto the other side as fucking victors. I've made shit tons of money. I've been broke, made a shit ton of money, went broke again, made a shit ton of money again. I've fucked up 1,000 times. The only difference is, even though I went broke, however many times I went broke before I made all this money, I kept pushing to make money again. I kept trying. I kept learning from my mistakes. I didn't let that beat me down one time and then never try again, capitulate, fucking go back to a corporate job and just work a normal job for the rest of my life. I refused to do that. I had already made the decision that was never going to happen to me. So as many times as I fucked up, as many times as I had gone broke, I was going to continue to press, continue to educate myself, continue to reflect on the mistakes that I had made, implement solutions, change who I am, and therefore get different results. So that's the last point I'll leave with you. You're never going to change your situation or start succeeding at a higher level until you're willing to reflect on the mistakes that you're making to then implement solutions to give you different results. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. You've all heard that. Yet you do that all the time. Yet you continue to do the same things and wonder why your life doesn't change. You have to reflect. Okay? Simply doing something over and over again in it of itself doesn't make you better at it. People who are 60, 70, 80 years old, 50 years old, who've been speaking the English language for 20, 30, 40 years longer than I have, don't speak better than I do. Why is that? Well, because practice isn't the reason they get better. If it was practice, they'd be speaking a lot better than I do. But no, they sound like babbling buffoons. Why do I speak better? Because I reflect on the way that I speak. When I make mistakes, I identify that mistake. Okay, what was the mistake? How do I fix that? How do I change that? Fantastic. Boom. In the future, I'm not going to make that same mistake. I get better. This is why you watch game tape whenever you play sports. Athletes, they watch game tape. Why do they watch game tape? Because practice in and of itself isn't going to get you the best results. You got to go back to the film, watch what you did, reflect, make the adjustments, go practice it. So don't lie to yourself thinking that just by showing up or just by doing something, you're going to get better at it. No. If you're a moron and you keep making the same exact mistake over and over and over and over again, you're never going to get better. Right? Reflect, adjust, improve. So that's the lesson for today. Your work is worth double on Sunday or on Saturdays. Okay? Your work is worth double on Saturdays. So take advantage of Saturday to increase the gap. And then number 2, don't quit. Obviously. Oh yeah, don't quit. No, don't quit. It is when you're right there, right at the finish line, you're just about to capitulate. That's when you were just about to turn the corner. So don't stop one hammer swing before the diamonds and start turning around. Just keep fucking going until you find it. Keep fucking going. And the first part of that poem, one of my favorite lines, rest if you must. Rest if you must, but do not quit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the university meeting. Let's get it fucking cracking. If you're not already inside the Discord, link is in the description. Go to thetaylorscode.com. Professional, gentleman, heroes program, whatever one you want to join at, whatever you want to do to make money online, whether it's e-commerce, crypto, investing, etc. You look at the packages, you join at the Discord level that you want, and then I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, beautiful. Speaking of fucking e-commerce, one of the guys just inside the Discord said something about it. So make sure you guys get inside ASAP, start growing with the community, start making money with the gentleman. And outside of that, let's go make some money. I'm going to go actually fucking message Sebastian right now because he's talking about some money and I want to see what that's about. All right. I'm going to do a little Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes. Sorry, Naeem.